Avalanche are proud to select Gabriel Landeskog.
He was the youngest captain in history. He took the Avalanche from the lowest of lows to the peak of the NHL mountain.
Hope to lead this organization to the prime.
They did it! The job is done!
And he sacrificed his body to do it.
We've given it our best shot, and it just hasn't worked out.
3 years, countless hours of rehab, a captain's willpower. Gabe Landeskog, the heart and soul of the Colorado Avalanche.
Gabe Landeskog! Oh, captain, my captain!
Takes us inside his incredible journey.
Maybe down the road I'll look back and put it all in perspective.
In a revealing 30-minute interview, Gabe opens up about the emotional and physical toll of his injury and the fight to reclaim his place on the ice. It's the story of resilience, determination, and sacrifice, only on Altitude.
And just like that, for the first time for me in a while, Gabe. Hi, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you.
Nice to see you, too. I see your hairline is still intact.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know, a couple of years older than last time.
You are.
Yeah, we probably sat like this. At least.
Yeah. So, ton of questions. Fans everybody wants to know the same answer to the same question. We'll get there. But I want to start, kind of take you back to Game 6, 2020. Cale Makar and the cut. Did you know how severe it was when it happened, and what sort of was your thinking? This is a quick fix, this is long term. What was going through your mind?
Well, right when that happened, I knew it wasn't just a laceration, I think. Like, skating off, I couldn't really put weight on it. Yeah, it very odd feeling. I'd never been cut like that before, obviously. So very odd feeling. Obviously painful, no doubt. And I think the worry right off the get-go was that the quad tendon was ruptured or lacerated completely, which, that's a year in itself right off the bat. But scary for sure, but we stitched it up, and I tried to go back out there, and I think I had a 9-second shift or something where I just realized I couldn't put any weight on that leg because of, the cut was pretty deep, so it just all the blood is rushing to that area. And in the bubble, we had Game 7 a couple of days later, and we tried and just realized there's no chance. But yeah, after that, I remember going back to Toronto and seeing a doctor there for help. We did a couple of PRP injections, which is a complicated way of kind of spinning your blood, putting it back in there to create some inflammation, but also to heal it, to start the healing process. And a couple of rounds of that helped. And then I was back for training camp, kind of that following COVID-shortened season, which started around Christmas. And
Were you
feeling good.
You did feel good.
Yeah, I was feeling good. I was doing fitness testing. I was doing the skate tests. I was doing, and I didn't have any symptoms with my knee. Did I have a little bit of tension on that side of my quad? Maybe, yeah. Had I gained all the strength back in my quad muscle? Not necessarily, but we thought because, the muscle, the quad muscle that runs along the side had been nicked in that cut, but we thought we had fixed it with sort of the injections. But nonetheless, I was feeling good, and if a hockey player's feeling good, he's going to play. So there was no doubt in my mind that it was kind of taken care of, and I think we did all the right steps at the time. And then it just kind of progressed after that. Didn't really have many issues until August, September of 21.
So I want to fast forward you to 2022, the year you guys win the Cup, and sort of that whole run. At what point did you know, or did you think, okay, something's bothering me, this could be an issue, and how did you get through that?
Well, it started, like I said, even before that 21-22 season started. It was kind of right at the end of the off season, August, September. It started really bothering me kind of on the top. I would describe it as on top of the kneecap, but it was obviously deeper and right underneath. But we managed it throughout the course of that season, just like you would with any other kind of injury, right? You manage it, you play. I was able to skate completely fine. Would it flare up once in a while and bother it? Yeah. And then it continued to get worse throughout the season. And then kind of after Christmas, New Year's, I remember going on All-Star break. We took a trip out to California for a few days, and I thought the rest was going to help, but came back, started skating, and it was that same stabbing pain. So then in March, we made a decision, okay, well, if we're going to do something to help this and clean this thing up, let's do it right now so we're back for playoffs. So that's what we did. And all along, like, you got to understand, we never thought this was on the horizon.
Right.
We had no idea, right? We just thought, okay, the knee's bugging you. There's a cartilage flap on the back of your patella that needs to be cleaned up. Okay, let's do that. And like I said, throughout my rehab, that March, April of 2022, I was feeling great, making nice progress, came back, felt great for the first 2 games. And then it kind of took a downturn after that. And then, I mean, you're in the playoffs, you're going to play through all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm not the only one that did it. I'm not the only one that's done it. And, yeah, you just kind of play through.
Adrenaline. It's adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline. You understand the grand scheme of things. You understand what our team looks like. You understand that the team that we have right now today isn't going to look the same down the road. Is never any playoff run you feel like, well, I don't know if we're ever going to get a chance like this again with this good of a team. And like, we're stacked, and we had so much momentum throughout that whole playoff, it felt like. And now looking back at it, obviously we were all on a mission, and yeah, so you just find a way to manage it, and you play and you compete and do what you have to do, and then you deal with kind of the consequences afterwards. And did I ever think I was going to sit here?
Right.
Almost 3 years later, no chance.
I mean, that's what people say, Gabe. I mean, they're like, if I would have thought that would be the last time I'd see Gabe, play, I would have told you you're nuts.
Yeah.
That had to go through your mind.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember, and I knew my knee wasn't in great shape throughout that playoff run, but I also knew that, like, let's see how far we can take this thing. Hopefully we can go all the way, and then we'll deal with it. Mm-hmm. Like, that was kind of the mindset, to be honest. And I don't regret any of that. I don't regret any decisions that were made throughout that playoff run or anything like that. We've continuously tried to just make the right decisions all along. And thank goodness we won. Yep. Shortly after that, was kind of when reality kind of set in, I guess.
So did the question ever come up to you in your mind, will I ever play again? Or was it, hey, May 10th, 2023, you decide we're going to have this big surgery? Did it ever occur to you, this is going to work, I'm going to be back? Or was it ever in your mind, I may never play again?
Not at that point. In like the late summer and fall of 2022, it's like, let's just figure this thing out. Why does it bother me so much? Like that was probably the worst pain I've been in, was kind of right after the Cup to my second surgery, which was in October, November, some point of 22. But that was right around the time when I guess I started realizing that I really had to start taking this thing seriously. And I guess in my mind, we had done one surgery in obviously March. And then because of the playoffs starting and things like that, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, we kind of rushed that rehab in a way because of the playoffs are starting. So potentially now, can we do another scope?
Right. And
really take our time with the rehab throughout that 22-23 season. And I consulted with obviously numerous doctors, and my one surgeon who ended up doing my osteochondral allograft that occurred later that year. I met him September of 22, and I remember talking to him, showing him the MRI images and consulting with him, and he essentially said, listen, if you can do a smaller scope and you can get your strength back and you can do all the things you need to do to play at an acceptable level to you and to your team, go ahead, do it, by all means. But there's a lot of damage in there, and you might have to do this surgery. And I'm like, well, what's the timeline? He's like, well, it's a minimum of 12 months. And it's obviously hard to put a timeline on it because no hockey player had done it. Not a whole lot of elite level athletes had done it. So, And from my perspective at that point, we're just coming off the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And I'm like, now I'm going to sit out for a year? Like I felt like I hadn't really given it a shot to rehab, really take my time with it. So that's when we did the second surgery. Shortly thereafter, we realized the damage was kind of already done, and there's enough damage to have to figure out another way, right?
So you decide to do it, right? Yeah. And I can't even imagine what that day was like for you, but did you go into that surgery thinking, all right, this rehab is going to be a piece of cake? I'm trying to get where you were mentally, Gabe, I
was in a bad spot.
Yeah?
22-23 was a tough season in terms of just like navigating the unknown of like, where do I even go from here?
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, I did this second surgery October of 2022, thinking that with every decision you make, you're always hopeful, right? And you think like, okay, well, now I can do this, this, and this, and now let's hope we can progress from here. But there was like no relief after that second surgery, and it was still that sharp, stabbing pain. Here's a picture from ultimately the osteochondral allograft from
Now, what is
May.
Explain what they did. What did they do?
Yeah, the easiest way to explain it is you're patching a piece of drywall on the backside of your patella. So if you essentially what they do, they cut you open from here to here, and then they flip open the kneecap, and then that's where all the damage is. Cartilage you can't grow back like any other tissue. You can replace it, which is what we ended up doing, right? You cut it out, then they measure it and take a cadaver piece, from a donor and match that. And it's a kind of a long process. Took about a month to find the right, donor and things like that for the right topography inside the joint. It's super complex, but Dr. Cole, who's my surgeon out of Chicago, did an amazing job. And then, they did, to kind of offload the back of the patella, they do what's called a tibial tubercle osteotomy, is they slice your shin bone, the tubercle here, which is your tibia, the top of your tibia, and they kind of wedge it to create more room in there. And it's all sorts of intricacies of what the surgery actually looks like, and I've had to educate myself in the anatomy of the knee before. Like, I had never had any knee issues ever before the cut in 2020. So all very new to me, and I've had to kind of educate myself on it. And surgery is complex. Now it's been done a lot, just not on elite level athletes.
So there you are. You're away from Linnea, Luke, Melissa. You realize that this is about, you have to focus on you right now. How was that, being away from the team, being away from your family, and you're in your own head? It's you versus you at that point. What was that like?
Yeah, hard. I think at times it's been very challenging. And having said that, I'm fortunate to have such an amazing support system. Obviously, Melissa and my two little rugrats at home that keep me sane and keep me going on a daily basis for sure. But also people outside of that, been amazing. So, but challenging at times for sure. And I think not only just because it's been a busy 2.5, 3 years. Like, it's not like I've been at home just hanging out, doing nothing. It's been at times I'd say I've been busier than when I was healthy and I was playing.
Right.
You have long days of rehab. You have extra things you're doing. You're going to see doctors. I was training in Philadelphia for a while. But even at times you're at home, but you're very absent because your mind's elsewhere. Your mind's dealing with the bigger picture of things. Your mind's dealing with trying to figure out a solution and figure out your own thoughts and feelings. And I guess that's at the end of the day why I feel like now is kind of a good time to share it with people and let people in and share kind of my story, because it's still challenging, still hard. Am I doing well? Yeah, I'm doing really well. And I think I'm getting close. But it's the unknown and the ups and downs of the roller coaster. It takes a toll on you mentally and emotionally and obviously physically. But I think out of the three of them, I think the physicality of the rehab and training has been probably the easiest.
How much has the media affected? wiped it out? Because let's be honest, Gabe, everyone's like, when is Gabe coming back?
Yeah.
When is it, and if you get into that and you start reading that, it can destroy you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why there's been radio silence for the most part from my end, and from the team, and obviously there's the occasional updates, start of seasons, end of seasons, things like that, too, because I feel like I owe that to people to show that, hey, I'm still doing well, I'm still here. I just choose not to do it all in public because I knew at the end of the day there was going to come a day where I was going to get to share it all and sit down with you and do this and be open and honest with everybody there at home, but it's been hard enough to go through it kind of on my own, and I think it would only make it harder by inviting everybody, sharing exactly what I'm doing on a daily basis. And like, as people will get to see, there's been some hard downturns, there's been some pullbacks where you go back and you lose what feels like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And if I was going to share that with everybody, and if we were going to share updates every month, like it's too much. It's too much, and it makes it even harder because now I will go walking down the street and people will be well aware of how that's going. And then, as it has been now, it's been amazing. The support's been incredible. I mean, listen, I've kind of had my stock answers, I guess, of when people stop and ask me how I'm doing, or they'll just stop to cheer me on and tell me keep pushing, which and friends and family will ask how things are going. And for the most part, I'll say it's trending in the right direction, and just kind of give them the stock answer, because the only people I can share really the ins and outs with, honestly, has been like my close family and friends and my team, right? That the trainers and coaches that I've worked with. And because it would take me half an hour to give somebody an update if they really wanted the honest update, because there's been so many nuances to this whole thing. So it's also for everybody else's sake not to bore them with the details, keep it kind of close to the vest. And at the end of the day, like, it's been a heck of a journey. And I don't think I'd have it any other way, to be honest with you. Like, I've gotten so close with a handful of people, my family and I, like, it feels like it's been the way it's supposed to be, and we've attacked it together. But having said that, the sport's been amazing, and I've felt it all the way.
All right, well, we want you to stay right there. Obviously, we got a lot more to get to, a lot of questions on people's mind, and obviously the big one, will we ever see Gabe Landeskog back on the ice? We got the captain here today from Colorado Social. Coming up next, more with Gabe and more about the future of this team as the playoffs are right around the corner. Keep it right here on Altitude. All right, welcome back. Continuing on with Gabe Landeskog, and I just want to pick up right where we left off, and this is more about the setbacks. Everybody gets so excited. Gabe was skating. You see it all over Twitter, and oh God, how close is he? And then we hear, okay, there's been a setback, or we're slowing down, or there's no progress. So I guess my question is what are the setbacks and the stages that you wanted to accomplish, Gabe? Whether it was stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Where are you right now?
Now I'm in a good spot. I'm been skating like 3-4 times a week, and continue to progress my skating. And I'm hopeful about the future, excited about the future, really. I mean, in terms of it's been so long that sort of the original PT or rehab, that you cross that kind of 4 months, maybe.
Yeah.
6 months is when I saw the doctor after surgery for the first time to check on what the plug looked like, and made sure that was okay. And then after that, you kind of get the green light to start skating. Have I had a couple of setbacks? Yeah. And I think people will get to see as well that these setbacks aren't necessarily, it's sore for a few days. It's like, it's an actual like injury. And so kind of like another injury you got to deal with. And I think people get to see that. Like, there was, I will also say this, like, it is the odd time I do get to follow the narrative on media and things like that. Like, let's just say that it's not always accurate.
Right.
Because of how secretive we've been and kept things close to the chest. So there's been, numerous reports of things or setbacks because I'm not seen necessarily doing things. And understandably, right? Like, I don't fault people for wanting to know, but there's a reason for that, is because I don't want to share all the ups and downs with everybody. It's enough for me to go through it myself. And I think, yeah, it's been wild, and obviously the setbacks have been hard. Now, did I think it was going to be smooth sailing for 18 months plus? Like, no chance, right? But you just continuously, you try to figure it out as you go. You try to make the best decisions all along. You try to make sure you keep progressing forward, and that's what we continue to do. And sometimes, yeah, you take steps backwards to then ultimately go forwards, and it's tested the resilience, it's tested my discipline like you wouldn't believe. But at the end of the day, it's kind of those things that make us grow and make us more resilient in the future. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
Yeah, and I think that's not like you have a broken arm.
No.
Right? Or your foot hurts or you broke your ankle. So a lot of it is the unknown. Guy named Lonzo Ball. I don't know a lot about him, but I know that he went through at least either a similar situation or the exact same. Did you ever reach out to him? Did he ever reach out to you?
Yeah, we actually kept in touch here and there, and we kept checking in with one another throughout the process. He was a few weeks or maybe a month or so ahead of me in terms of when he did his surgery, because I remember when I was researching my surgery, consulting with different doctors, I reached out to him, and he was a few weeks into his, and obviously different sport, different moving patterns, things like that, and ultimately different knees, right, from the beginning. But we both had the osteochondral allograft. He had something going on with a different part of his knee. I had another thing going on with mine, but same surgeon. So it's been amazing watching his journey, and obviously he's back and doing awesome. So it's fun to watch, and obviously that's inspiring. But throughout my journey, you find the craziest places for inspiration. To be honest with you, it's like, for me, and even the reason why I wanted to share my story and share it through A Clean Sheet, who's ultimately the documentary that we've been working on for years. After the Cup run and throughout the 22-23 season, I stumbled across Andy Murray's documentary called Resurfacing. And I remember watching it for the first time. I'm like, this is wild. Like, he is putting words to everything that I'm going through. Like, he's kind of like, throughout the whole documentary, he's navigating the unknown of having to do the resurfacing hip surgery. And Andy Murray's obviously one of the best tennis players
ever
in the world, right? So getting to see that, and I kept just watching it. And I watched it again, and I watched it again, and I watched it, and I tell Melissa, I'm like, you got to watch this, because he's putting words to what I'm feeling right now. And this is before I do the big surgery, and this is before I wanted to accept the fact that I might have to do it. So I think that's why we decided to kind of document it. Once I went through the surgery, we wanted to kind of start gathering some footage. And we didn't know where it was going to go, but we wanted to see where it was going to take us. For me personally, my family personally, be able to one day look back at and just kind of almost like glorified home footage, right? Like, and the other part of it is, like, I wanted to maybe be that person for somebody else, what Andy Murray did for me, because through some of those days, it was like, I just wanted to watch it because I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm like, I don't know who to talk to, who to try to explain it to. I'm like, I would tell people, well, you're checking in to see how I'm feeling, like, watch Resurfacing.
Has it helped? Has that been part of your therapy, for you?
I mean, yeah, that was a part of it at one point early on, right? But then, I've had an incredible team around me of working with professionals that I go and talk to kind of get things off my chest, right? One of my therapists, Rick, has been incredible. Also, like, part of just, honestly, the things that helped the most has been just, like, talking to people, sharing it with the close group around me, and opening up to Melissa about what I'm going through, and not just, like, keeping it up here. Started journaling years ago, and that's been a really helpful part for me. So it's been...
What is it? You went to battle with Nate, Kale, Taze, LOC, Val. I mean, you go down the list. How hard is it to watch a hockey game? How hard is it to see these ugly losses, these come from behind wins, all of the excitement and energy around the team? How do you watch a game? How do you interpret? How hard has it been?
At times it's been really hard. Other times it's not been hard at all. And obviously, for majority of the time, it's been very enjoyable to get to watch it in a way, because especially when I'm doing well physically and emotionally, I'm like, I'm just sitting there watching, cheering on my teammates and some of my best friends, right? Now, there's been times where I haven't wanted to watch the games, and I've stayed away from it.
Why is that?
Because you feel so far away from it. Like, when things aren't, like, originally when I couldn't even put weight on my leg and skate, right? Like, that kind of in between season 22, 23, I'm like, I can't even go out there for a lap and pretend to look like a hockey player. So then to watch it just felt like, man, I can't relate. And then to go in the locker room and try to, I'm like, so far away from what they're going through. From not that long ago, I was right in the heat of the battle, and right in there could relate to almost everybody in the locker room, right? On a one level or another. But that's been challenging, of like trying to still be there for everybody. And I've tried my best, obviously, to be there and just be a friend, really. Like, it's the leadership aspect and being a teammate and being a part of that has been, you can't force it. It really is hard to be any sort of leader when you're not in the heat of the battle, from my perspective. But as things continue to progress, obviously I'm watching it closely, and I'm paying attention to the details of the game, and I still make sure that the systems of our games are fresh in my mind, because when the day comes, I'm planning on it for still to come, right? Then I want to make sure that I'm dialed in on what needs to be done out there, and hockey is still such a big part of my life, and it's still my first love, and it's something that I'm good at, and I really enjoy doing everything about it, in terms of working on small details of the game, studying the systems and how to pick apart an opponent, even if it's just like face-offs and small details. Like, I love doing that stuff, and I miss it. And I miss the compete aspect of it. I miss the camaraderie in the locker room, on trips and buses, planes, all those things. And but I know that I also can't be thinking those things every single day, because that becomes exhausting.
I got to stop you there, because I'm a fan first. When I hear you say, I'm going to make it back, like I'm going to will myself to do this, I get excited. Fans get excited. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear from you. They want to hear you say that. I know you can't get there yet, but I think there's so many people that when they think of the Colorado Avalanche, they think of you. Like, you are the heart and soul. You're the leader of this team. You're the guy that stood in front of the media when there was a 48-point season. I was the one asking you questions, right?
Yeah, you were.
And then you took them to the top of the mountain. And so people are genuinely wondering, am I ever going to get to see my hero again? And to hear the optimism in your voice makes me excited.
Yeah, and I think it should, and it's okay to get excited. And I think that what I continue striving towards is just kind of winning each day, right? And stringing a good day with another good day, and a week, and then another week. And like, listen, we're in a good spot. We're skating. The intensity is up. And I hope that I'm not too far off of eventually, right, down the road, to go out there and compete with my teammates, right? And that's the goal, and that's what I continue working towards. I have, as people will get to see in the documentary, there was a time, in a long period of time, where I would set deadlines and I would set goals, and being like, well, at this point I want to be here, and at this point I want to do this. And it gets really hard when something happens and you don't reach that. You get super disappointed. You're not there. You feel like you let everybody down.
Yep.
I've sort of put that out of sight, out of mind, and I just try to do my best every single day. I'm a competitor still. I'd be lying to you if I told you this year's playoff run. Like, of course I want to be part of it. Of course I want to play. So that's what I'm working towards every day. But to have that in my mind every single day when I wake up and think about it, I think I've learned that it's a bit counterproductive. Just like focus on the task at hand, stay present, and do it the best you can. And I think that's what ultimately I think the message is, by showing a clean sheet now in the documentary coming out starting Sunday, is that I'm trying my best.
Yep.
That's all I continue to do. And there's nobody in this world that would like to come out and skate out on that ice more than me.
I know.
So it's, I have high expectations of myself. I continue to want to set the bar high, and I'm going to see this thing through. Yeah. We'll see where it takes me.
I want to ask you, because you are the guy in the locker room that, you come in, you change, you just do. You change the locker room. A lot of great personalities in there, but that's one thing that you've missed is being that guy after morning skate or after a game. But what it has done is given you the opportunity to be dad, right? You've constantly talked about, maybe you don't know your kids as well. There's blessings in disguise, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So, how do you balance not being the guy and being the guy?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's definitely a blessing, right? As much as I would have liked to be the dad at home and play hockey and do what I love doing, but that's not the hand I was dealt. So there's nothing I can do about it other than to be completely present wherever I am, and that's what I've tried to do. Am I good at it? Not necessarily. I've had some practice at it, and I go and I have a bad day at the rink, and I come home and I'm supposed to let it go, but
you can't.
I got so good at that playing hockey when my kids were really young, right? Like Luke was a year and a bit, Linnea was 2.5 when I played my final game. And I was getting really good at like leaving things at the rink. Good game, bad game, practice, whatever, and then you come home, you be dad. But man, when you're bringing this thing home wherever you go, so your knee hurts, like you're mood, and it's like that's really hard. That's been really challenging to disconnect from that. But they're such amazing ages. Like now, Linnea's 5, Luke just turned 4 2 days ago. Any parent would say the same thing. It's just a blessing to be a part of these years, and I've been super fortunate to create these strong bonds with them, and obviously Melissa as well. For us to continue to go through and be a big part of their lives at this stage it's incredible, and it's been a lot of fun. And I can't speak highly enough of my kids, and I'm sure I sound like that dad now that's just sitting here just oohing and ahhing about his kids, but it's been so much fun. Blessed to have 2 healthy kids, an amazing wife that's been a rock star throughout this whole thing. Like, she's dealt with me. I haven't been that pleasant some days and some periods of times for longer stretches where it's been challenging, for sure, of course, right? Like, she's the one that takes the brunt of it, and she's had to set me straight a few times, and that's what I love about her. And
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. But so that aspect of it, I would never wish away at all. Now, for the longest time after we won the Stanley Cup, is like I kept saying to people, like, well, I'd much rather have a messed up knee and a Stanley Cup ring than the opposite way around. Now it's kind of like, okay, well, I'd like to have both now. I'd really like to have both. I really like to get back to that part of my life as well. There's a lot more to me than just play hockey, and I've got to kind of explore and discover that during this process of having a little bit more time to allow myself to do that. But like I said, like, hockey is my first love. I love it. I'm good at it. and it's the camaraderie of it. You can't replace it, right? Like so I continue striving towards it.
This documentary, the piece that you're going to, put out and everyone's going to get to see, is a great tool for you to share with your family and your friends, for the whole world to see. You haven't been on the ice a lot for your kids. What do you tell them? I mean, what do you tell Luke that he doesn't understand?
No.
How do you explain who you were and who you are and what you're going through?
Yeah, I think they have been sort of exposed to it a little bit, of like people maybe stopping me or asking to take a picture, and the first few times they're like, "What's going on? Why do they ask you to take a picture?" I guess that's just yeah. I've caught Linnea a few times of like, why did they want to take a picture with you? Like, what's the deal? But it's been a funny kind of developing part at home, and
because one day they're going to see you on the ice, Gabe, and they're going to be like, what was he doing out there?
Yeah, and like Linnea was 2 and a bit when she last came to warm up and got to see me and got to see that whole thing. Luke was a tiny little, he was a year and a half, right, when we came cruising down 17th Street for the parade. But so he doesn't remember that. Has he seen the videos? Yes. He's seen pictures and stuff, of course, but he doesn't remember it. I can tell now that he's obsessed with hockey in a way, that he's like trying to piece it together. Like, wait, that's you? And like, he's seen some highlight videos on YouTube. He's seen some fights, and he'll ask me, why are you punching that guy? Like, he'll ask like bluntly, like, what are you doing? But then there's also times where we can see the confusion a little bit on, like, especially Linnea's face. Like, she's asked me, like, is today a day where you skate by yourself, or is today a day where you get to skate with your teammates? Because as you all know, like, I've gotten to morning skates a few times, and right, like I've progressed to that, and those days I've been open with my kids, and like, I get to skate with my friends today. I'm super excited, right? So they kind of share that journey with me, and I don't pull them along on the roller coaster by any means, but I've explained to them. I have a knee model at home that I've like shown them of like, this is where daddy's boo-boo is. This is why daddy's got a scar. For a little bit, I messed with the kids and I said I got attacked by a shark, and I punched the shark in the nose.
That's
and Luke thought it was the coolest thing. He's like, "What'd you do to the shark? Tell me again." But they, they've understood that it was daddy's got boo-boo in his knee and he's trying to figure it out. He's trying to get stronger, and I'm sure they'll be excited one day to get to see daddy on the ice, to at least to understand how meaningful it is to me, and I think they get that part. But at the same time, sometimes Melissa and I will read more into it than maybe they do, right? Like, it's not like they're waking up every day thinking, why isn't daddy playing? Why isn't daddy doing his job, right? Like, I want them to have that innocence as well. So
you and I have talked about this before. The day you come back, the game, it's hard for me to even talk about because I'm so excited for you, and I know you use it as inspiration. This building, I can't even imagine, right? Whenever it happens, to see you back on the ice. God help whatever team we're playing on that night.
Yeah.
But as you envision it, what do you see and what do you feel as you take the ice?
I've envisioned that many times in my head. And I mean, it's home. It's home. And this city is so special to me and my family. And this is home. Like, obviously, I'm very proud to be Swedish, and I'm proud to be from Stockholm, and I got tons of family and friends back there. But this is kind of where I grew up. Came here as an 18-year-old kid, kind of grew up in a way in this building, right? And so many heartbreaking moments, so many amazing memories and moments, and that'll never go away. That moment of skating, I mean, it's going to be incredible. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, for me, I'm probably going to be a wreck. And I have a lot of built-up aggression inside of me that at some point, some poor defenseman is going to be on the receiving end of. But I'm excited for the day, obviously. And I don't mean to say this just to kind of hedge myself in any way. But, like, whenever that day is, I'm seeing it through. And, it's not to say that I'm lowering my bar or I'm expecting to be ready for game one of playoffs. Like, I can't promise anything. I'm done making promises.
Yep.
My crystal ball is clearly not working at this point. So, but I can tell you this: I continue doing my best. I continue working as hard as I can. I'm committed to it, and to all the Avs fans, like, the support means the world. Like, you know, I posted something on Instagram the other day, and the feedback and the people reaching out, personal stories, just cheering me on and telling me to keep going. It's like it really means a lot. It really does, and the support, you know, finds its way all the way into my heart, no doubt about it. You know, so I hope that one day I can go out there and kind of share the ice again, share the building again with them, and go out there and share it with my teammates and just kind of go do my job, right? Like, that's my job out there. Like, rehabbing, working out, skating, I understand it's a part of my job, but for 3 years, it's like, it's a lot. And I'd rather go out to that part of my job.
Finally, what have you learned about yourself? You know, what have you gained from all of this, in hopes that this all has the ending that we all hope it does? What have you learned about yourself? What do you want to say to Avalanche fans? What do you want to say to your family? This was not in this wasn't supposed to be in the story.
Right.
It is now, Gabe. It's part of the story.
Yeah.
What'd you learn? What are you learning?
Yeah, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, daily basis, it's like, you know, that resilience of, like, continuously stacking the bricks. Even on the days where, like, you don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to go skate by yourself. You don't want to go lay on a treatment table for an hour and a half right at bedtime and just leave your wife off with the kids. But, like, some of these things you're realizing, like it's not really an option. It's not really a choice. Like, the illusion of choice was written in this book I read years ago by Trevor Moawad, who, the book is called It Takes What It Takes. And the illusion of choice is my favorite part about it. Is if you have a goal, if you have something you're striving towards, then there are certain things that are expected for you to get there. So then for you to go to the gym when you really don't want to isn't really a choice. It's just something that you do. You know, going to the pool early in the morning, late at night, like, it's just, the choice isn't yours. It's just go do it. And I think the discipline of doing things when you really don't want to do them, that has been something that I've had to do a lot of. And I think it's, I think just the resilience of sticking with it. When I first started this, I didn't think where it was going to go. I didn't know if I was going to have the guts to stick with it. I didn't know if I was going to have the patience to just, like, keep doing the work and then maybe 2 years down the road see the fruits of your labor. But I think that's the beauty of it, and that's why I continue doing it. And you know, there's tons of things that I've learned about, like, when I first started this and I sort of started stepping on Melissa's toes because I was at home 7 days a week, I learned a lot about, like, okay, you stay in your lane over here. You can help out with these things, but stay over here. She's a rock star. She kind of manages everything at home and allows me to do my job. And yeah, I got a lot to learn still. You know, there's a lot of room for improvement. And you know, as hard as it's been, as challenging as it's been at times, I don't think I'd honestly change anything about it. It's, you know, this adversity is just, it'll cause you to grow, and it'll help you grow, and hopefully it'll, you know, it doesn't even have to pay off at the end. It doesn't even have to, because the journey itself, right? Like, I had an great interview with Peter Baugh the other day from The Athletic that used to be our beat writer, and I shared the story from a dinner that I had with Nate a few nights ago, and just, we were reminiscing a bit about the Stanley Cup run. And Nate, as you know, is a wise soul that he doesn't always let everybody in on, but he really is. And in private, like, he's super insightful and very thoughtful. And he was thinking about back on the Stanley Cup and telling me, like, hey, listen, it's not, when you really think about it, it's not like it's 2 months of just fun. It's like 2 months of a grind with a group of people that you're striving towards this goal with. And then it's maybe 24, 48 hours of just complete excitement and like the top of the mountain, and you're just flying high, feeling great. But it's the journey to get there. And it's like, yeah, those 24, 48 hours is kind of what everybody sees, and it's the images that you see. But the journey to get there is like, when I see teammates that we won with and that we talk about and reminisce about it, like, it's the journey to get there. It's a whole season to get there. It's ups and downs and memorable little shifts and moments and off the ice things. Those are the things. And I think my journey is no different in that way. So, yeah, stick with it, and we'll see where it takes us.
Well, I mean, the fact that you did this for us and let us be part of the journey that is continuing is unreal. You know how I feel about you as a guy and a dad. But I think as a leader, as the leader of this team, I don't think there's a soul in the world that can't wait for that day that we eventually hope will come. I can't thank you enough for doing this for us, Gabe. And on behalf of all of Avalanche Nation and all the knuckleheads that I work with, we hope to see you back real soon. And
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, and like I can't wait to be out there, and I can't wait to be a part of the group again. And as you guys are fortunate enough to get to see on a nightly basis, like, we have an incredible group.
Yeah,
and it's a hardworking group. It's a resilient group. There's always going to be growing pains with new players. There's always going to be ups and downs. And I think the patience that the team has shown to continue to finding ways to get better. And this is the time of year for us to continue to get better into the playoffs. And I think the guys are doing a good job of it. It's amazing getting to see these guys play. And, I mean, we're spoiled to get to watch some of these guys on a nightly basis. And I hope Avs faithful. I'm sure they know it. But I'm really excited about what the future holds for this team.
all right. Thanks, bud.
Okay, dude. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. There you go. That's our conversation with the captain of the Colorado Avalanche, Gabe Landeskog. Good chunk of information there, and hopefully Avalanche fans can rest easy knowing that Gabe is doing everything in his body to get back on the ice. Go Avs, go. We'll see you right here on Altitude.